bleeding purple and gold. From the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LakersNation.com podcast with your host, Trevor Lane.
Welcome to today's show. As always, we are powered by CLNS Media, and this episode is brought to you by Harry's Razors. Head to harrys.com/Lakers for a great deal on razors, as well as ZipRecruiter. Go to ziprecruiter.com/Lakers for all of your hiring needs. Now, there is absolute insanity going on across the NBA landscape right now. We've got trades happening, all kinds of rumors, and teams are preparing for the NBA draft. So for today's very special show, I have Larry Nance Jr., power forward for the Los Angeles Lakers, coming on to talk a bit about the D'Angelo Russell trade. He'll talk a little bit about teaming up with Brook Lopez and quite a bit more. Plus, I have Yahoo Sports NBA insider Jordan Schultz popping in to tell us all about the latest rumors regarding the Los Angeles Lakers. Tons to get to, so let's jump right into it. I'd like to welcome on Los Angeles Lakers power forward Larry Nance Jr. to today's show. Larry, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, of course.
So how's everything going in with your off season? I'm sure you're working out a lot, getting ready for the upcoming year, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's going great. We got all the young guys in the gym working out, and everybody's getting better. From Zoo, Julius, every day, Jordan. It's going really well.
That's great to hear that everybody's in there working out, but obviously the big topic right now is that one of the young guys is no longer with the team. D'Angelo Russell was just traded to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange, as well as Timofey Mozgov, in exchange for Brook Lopez in the 27th pick in the draft. What's your reaction to that trade?
Obviously I hate to see D'Angelo go. That was my running mate from the draft class, so me and him got to be pretty close, but I like I said, I hate to see him go, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to going forward with it.
Now, that's right. As out of your draft class, it was you, Anthony Brown, and D'Angelo Russell, and you are now the only one left that is still with the Lakers. Do you feel like the team maybe gave up on D'Angelo Russell too soon? I know fans out there are pretty upset with this trade.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's obviously still has loads of potential and stuff like that. I hope he goes to Brooklyn and is a 10-time All-Star. I wish him all the best of luck, and he knows I feel that way. So this is nothing new, but I want him to be, the best player he can be.
Right. I think that's been a pretty common sentiment too. He really did grow on a lot of Lakers fans, and so they're hoping that he's going to really find success there with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, coming to the Lakers with Brook Lopez, I thought this was kind of funny because on Monday, I think it's fairly likely that you are going to win Dunk of the Year for your dunk over Brook Lopez, but now he's your teammate in Los Angeles. What's your take on that?
I think it's pretty funny, actually. Obviously he's a heck of a player, super good talent and everything, but also from everything I've heard, he's a really funny, really good guy as well. So I'm looking forward to obviously meeting him and give him a hard time about it.
Well, from reading comments online, I've seen a number of fans that have suggested that maybe you take some of the pictures of you dunking over him and just strategically place those around the locker room areas where Brook Lopez might run into them. So just an idea for you there if you're looking to pull any pranks on him.
Just an idea. Yeah, I'll make sure our first meeting goes a little bit better than me just rubbing that in his face. But I'm sure throughout the year there'll be plenty of jokes and laughs about it.
Right. Yeah. So that dunk is one that has, it's been replayed time and time again. It was just an incredible moment. I likened it to the dunk that you had against the Golden State Warriors when you were a rookie in preseason against Festus Ezeli. when you get up there and you dunk on a guy like that, do you just know instantly that it's going to be on all the highlight reels, or is it something where you kind of go back and look at it later, you see it on ESPN and you go, oh wow, that really was good?
Well, it depends. Like there are some where you go up dunk it and it's like, oh man, that one was pretty good. And then like the one on David West per se, I thought that was kind of nothing. I had a clean lane. Nobody really touched me. I just a regular dunk, and then come to find out after the game that the internet was buzzing about it. So there are sometimes like you can tell, like with the Brook Lopez one, I was pretty. I knew as soon as I landed from that one that was going to be a pretty big deal.
So let's talk a little bit about Brook Lopez joining the Lakers. Now, he's got a pretty interesting skill set for a big man, for a true 7-footer. He can really step out and shoot the three. How do you foresee that meshing with the team?
Oh, I think it's perfect. I mean, that's where the game is. That's where the game is going now. Stretch bigs and that's really what my biggest thing that I'm working on this summer is getting my game out to the 3-point line, being able to knock that down and, put it on the ground and attack off when somebody closes out on me. So, that skill set is going to be extremely important and very valuable to us going forward.
And we saw you working on that 3-point shot last year in Summer League, but then once the season started, it seemed like that sort of fell by the wayside. It wasn't something you were going to as much. Is that something you're hoping to incorporate next season?
Oh, absolutely. That was kind of a product of, just being more comfortable in the paint and than I was out on the perimeter. So this year, that's what I'm focusing on, is just being more comfortable in game-like situations out there on the perimeter, so that when it does come to game time, I can feel at ease, feel comfortable out there.
Now, I've heard that you and Ivica Zubac both have a little competition going where you both shoot, I believe it was like 100 threes or something at the end of each workout. Is that correct?
It hasn't been every day, but yeah, we've definitely done it.
Okay, so I gotta ask then, who's getting the better of that competition right now?
Oh man, this is, I don't even know if I want to put him on blast like this, but I think it was just yesterday ago we shot 7 spots, first to 7 or 10 or whatever it was, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there that I did win all 7 spots convincingly, not just by 1 or 2, convincingly. So, let him. I'm sure he'll come back with something, but you can ask the coaching staff. That's a fact.
So we should expect to see you being the one knocking down the threes next season, and not so much Ivica Zubac. All right, we'll keep that in mind.
Not so much though.
He really is an intriguing young talent, though, isn't he? What's your take then on this guy? He just seems to just love being in the NBA.
He does. He's it's hard not to.
Right.
It's hard not to. This is what you dream about. This is what you playing basketball in the backyard. This is what all of us did, and now he's finally here. You can just see it on his face when he's in the gym, just like having so much fun. And I am too. We all, like me and him, that's probably why we get along so well, because we both appreciate where we're at so much. And like you said, he's incredibly skilled. I mean, he's like 20 years old. He has left hand, right hand, sky hooks, baby hooks. He's got a face-up jumper. Like he's got a skill package that is very unique to his age. So I think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know fans are very high on him, and especially I've seen a lot of people talking about a front court that includes you and him together, and that you're both, you can block shots, and both of you are fairly quick-footed. You can switch out on pick and rolls and things like that. So people are really excited about that potential pairing, and they also noticed a connection with your passing ability on the floor. It seems like the two of you work very well together. So hopefully that's something we get to see a bit more of next season. Do you know is that something in the plans that the coaching staff has shared with you?
I hope so. That's we got to do a little bit last year, and both of us being IQ players, we do pass it very well, and we're unselfish, play well off of one another, and so if we did get to see that pairing a whole lot, whether it be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in games, I think it'll work really well.
So I got to ask you about this. The rumors right now are absolutely flying. I know fans are just constantly refreshing Twitter trying to find out about this, but the Lakers have been in pursuit of Paul George. What's your thoughts on potentially playing with him?
I'd be excited about it. Anytime you get a chance to play with a superstar in the NBA, you like to think about it. You like to think that it'll be awesome. And everything I've heard about Paul is that he's a great guy, good leader, and super hard worker. So that's, perfect for me. I would love to.
So Magic Johnson has talked a lot about leadership. You just mentioned that Paul George is a great leader and a great guy in the locker room and everything. With D'Angelo Russell being on the way out, where do you see, if the Lakers don't land Paul George, where do you see leadership coming from on this team next season?
You know what? That's actually where I'm turning a lot of my focus. I guess I am still fairly young in terms of NBA years, but I like to think of myself as a more mature guy on the team. So I'm trying to take more of a leadership role and lead by example as well as vocally now. It's going pretty well this summer, and I'm just looking forward to keep working on it and carrying it over into the season.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Most of the guys that you're seeing in the upcoming draft are one and done players. And that wasn't the case for you in college, and that was partly due to a few injuries that you had and things like that. Do you have any regrets about that? Do you wish that you could have been a one and done player, or do you feel like staying longer in college has better prepared you for the NBA? Because that's a big topic right now.
Oh, for me, if I would have came out my first or second year, I would have been out of the league, and I wouldn't even have made it to the league. So staying 4 years for me was just huge. It was big time. My injury was almost a blessing in disguise because, like you said, it better prepared me for it. I grew up physically, mentally, and was able to understand and appreciate. Look, okay, this is my role. This is what's going to get me on the court, and let's go do that. And so I think it did give me a little bit of a head start. Mentally than some guys.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the other day, Lakers.com posted an interview with Jesse Buss, and he went into detail all about how much you wowed the Lakers staff in your pre-draft workouts, and how you just completely sold them on picking you, and how much they were hoping you would still be there for them with the 27th pick in the 2015 draft. So what was your thought process heading in as we're getting ready for the next NBA draft here in a day? What was your mindset heading into the draft?
Well, coming out of college, I was a senior, so that, which I think is ridiculous, that hurts you coming out, being a little bit older, being a senior. So I wasn't on any draft boards, wasn't really anything that anybody had anything special, so I really just wanted to hear my name called, and so got to working out, and my agent thought, all right, if we can just get you in the combine, get you in front of people will see that, hey, you belong here and you can play. And so that's what we did. I snuck into the combine and got in front of the testing and stuff like that, and then they got to see what kind of athlete I am and how I can make that translate to the NBA level, and it just kind of took off from there. So
that was a testament to your own hard work. Jesse Buss talked all about how hard you worked and all of the tryouts and how you just had this look on your face where they could tell that you were a top athlete and that you were one of the guys that they really wanted to add. But as you mentioned, most mock drafts didn't have you going in the first round. In fact, most of them had you going towards the end of the second round. So when you got to hear your name called, and in the first round, no less, to the Los Angeles Lakers, were you just completely shocked, or what was your reaction?
I was shocked. I was completely shocked because, quite honestly, I had kind of thought going into the way the Lakers handle things. They play it very close. You know, they don't let anybody know what's going on. They keep it very secretive. And so I knew I did good in the workout, but I had zero idea until with the 27th pick in the draft, me. And it was like, wow, I had no inclination that might happen. My agent really didn't either. And so when it happened, it was awesome. I mean, like we talked about before, you dream your whole life of that moment, and getting to hear your name called is just something I'll never, ever, ever forget.
In the game of basketball, the key to winning is having a strong roster, and that is also true in business. But you can't find the best candidates by posting your job on just one site. You need to post them on all of the top job sites, and now you can do that with ZipRecruiter. At ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your position. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you, it finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get qualified candidates in just 24 hours. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. So find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes nationwide. And right now, my listeners to the Lakers Nation podcast can start forming their own winning team on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Lakers. That's right, ZipRecruiter.com/Lakers. Try it for free today. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/Lakers. I'd imagine that's got to be one of those just completely unforgettable moments, like you said. And you know what? It was something where I remember at the time a lot of people being surprised when you were picked at that spot because you were projected to go later in the draft. But then as soon as people saw you play in preseason, as soon as they really got to get a look at you, everybody just went, oh, wow, the Lakers got somebody here. And then they really got a steal with Larry Nance Jr. that other teams overlooked. So that was really, really cool, seeing the fans start to shift and the opinion change, especially after you started dunking on people. People just instantly made you a fan favorite. As I recall, at Summer League last year, they were chanting your name from the rafters. Isn't that right?
They were, actually, and it was cool getting to hear that, because they just not that long ago they had done it at the Mountain West Championship game that we won, and so it was cool getting back, which was in Vegas, I should say. And so going back to the gym, having them do the same thing, except this time for an NBA team, was pretty cool getting to see that.
So you're not playing for this year's Summer League team, as I recall. Are you planning on still heading out to Vegas to get a look at some of these young guys?
Oh, I'll be there. Getting to supporting Zoo, BI, and if Noaba plays, I'll be supporting him, and then obviously whoever else ends up with us.
Well, let's talk about whoever else ends up with them, because right now the Lakers, as of this moment, this could change very, very quickly here, but as of this moment, the Lakers have the 2nd pick, the 27th pick, and the 28th pick, and most of the attention is on the 2nd pick, and rightly so. Do you have anybody in particular that you are really hoping the Lakers grab with that selection?
Not necessarily. I got to be in the gym to watch all the guys work out. And they're lottery picks. They're all really impressive. They're all athletic, can shoot it. They're all basketball players. So they separating them in an individual workout that looks better for some guys and doesn't for other guys. And so for me, I didn't get to watch much college basketball. We kind of had our own season thing going on. And so I didn't get to see anybody really play, but from everything I hear, you can't really go wrong with this batch of incoming guys, because they're all super talented.
One of the things that we have heard coming out of these workouts, and you can speak to this because you've been through this as well, is that the Lakers have a particularly difficult workout that they put players through, that it's very physically exhausting. Did you see that with this group, and is that something you experienced as well?
Yes, they definitely do some drills that are like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not going through that again. But the most tiring workouts for me was Boston and Phoenix. Those two really wore you out.
The Suns do a drill, I believe, at the very end where they make you run full court sprints for, I want to say, like 3 minutes. Right.
Yep, the 3-minute drill. And they also do a full, or they did, I should say. I don't know if they do anymore, but a full court one-on-one, which is just vicious.
Oh. So, and that's, I mean, you're going to work out sometimes back to back to back to back. You're cramming in a lot of workouts with a lot of different teams in a really short time. That's got to be really taxing, right?
Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, I went to in 1 month period, I went to 14 different workouts in 14 different cities. So it was from airport to the gym, back to the airport to the hotel to the gym, the airport. You know, just it's physically taxing, and so when a team does make you do a drill like that, you're just like, oh gosh, this is brutal. But at the same time, you know, they know what they're doing. They're just seeing your resolve and what type of attitude you take towards it.
Right. They're trying to see if they can make you break, and once you hit that wall, how you're going to respond to that, because they want to know, you know, how you're going to respond in a game situation when that happens. So. Looking at these young prospects, there's so many that are really interesting, but it feels like the wind is sort of shifting, and we're starting to feel like Lonzo Ball is probably going to be the Lakers pick, although, I mean, nothing's for sure, but he's certainly an interesting prospect. You are very, very good at getting out and running in transition. So does that make playing with a guy like Lonzo Ball appealing to you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't get to see him play too much, but from what I understand, his court vision is what makes him so appealing to as a prospect. And you know, for me, I love hearing that, you know, because I like, you know, hit me on a flip, throw it up, throw it at the rim, you know. I love that, you know. Anytime we can get on a break, throw some lobs, give me some dunks, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun to see you getting out and running with a passer like that. It would be really phenomenal to see. Now, your dad obviously had an NBA career, an excellent NBA career. He's one of the greatest players ever, and we've got Lonzo maybe coming in, and his dad, while he didn't play in the NBA, has developed quite a bit of fame himself, and that's LeVar Ball. But there's been a lot of talk about him maybe being a distraction, that him making comments about the team, you know, to reporters and things like that could be an issue in the locker room. How do you see that whole situation playing out? Do you think that's a real concern, or is that just not even a big deal?
You know what? For me, I haven't even really been giving positive or negative media any attention, because I don't think it's going to affect me really. You know, that's not my relationship would have to be with, you know, Lonzo, and for everything I know about him, he's a terrific kid, and seems like a good guy. So that's first and foremost my number one thing. Anything else is just you know, not something that I would have to deal with.
Agreed. And, you know, when I actually got to talk to LeVar Ball on last week's show, and he pretty much said the same thing. Not in the exact same words, of course, but he pretty much said, hey, the guys on the court are going to be worrying about what's going on the court and not what I'm saying off the court. So yeah, I don't see it as being a major issue either. Now, Larry, before we get you out of here, we got to talk about your work with a number of different Crohn's foundations. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing there? And I know this is something you're really passionate about.
It is. So I partnered with a family in New York, and we started a foundation called Athletes vs. Crohn's. And first of all, Crohn's disease it's a autoimmune disease that just really attacks your digestive system and makes it really hard to, if not treated properly, makes it really hard to go do day-to-day activities without difficulties. And so I partnered with this family, and we got together to create Athletes vs. Crohn's, and something I'm really excited about. And it's our mission is really to connect kids with Crohn's to either professional, collegiate athletes, high school, somebody above their level, to kind of, that they can look at and say, look, hey, you can do it. I'm here. You can do it too. You know, it's just because you have this doesn't mean you can't make it to where I'm at. And I'm really passionate about it because, you know, when I was diagnosed as a high school senior, I didn't really have that. And I just know, or as a sophomore, I didn't have somebody to look at and tell me, you know, hey, it's going to be all right. You can do this. And so that's my main reason for doing this now, is just so to put myself out there. So any kid that needs some reassurance or needs a face that they can look at and go, you know what, he can do it. I can follow in his footsteps. That's what we're doing it for.
That sounds like a fantastic goal, and that's tremendous that you're using your basketball fame to help out kids who really need it. Do you have any events or anything like that coming up, or a way that people can find out more information about Athletes vs. Crohn's?
We just had our first event in New York a couple weeks ago, and it went over great. You know, we had a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and it was a huge success. But we have it's plastered all over my Instagram, all over my Twitter, and we have websites. You know, we're gonna have future events coming up here in LA and New York and different cities. And if you just kind of stay tuned to my social medias, I'll make sure everybody knows where they're at.
Well, that sounds great, Larry. Before we let you get out of here, as far as the Los Angeles Lakers go next season, do you have any predictions as far as what the team's record will be, or any particular goals that you have for the team?
I just want to be better than last year. You know, that's obviously we don't know who's going to be with us, who's not going to be with us, and you know that's still to be figured out. But you know, the only thing that I can control is working on my own skill set, and I just want to help us be better than we were the year before.
And the rest you just kind of have to leave up to Magic Johnson, right?
Exactly. We're in very capable hands.
He's certainly a change from Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss. I don't want to say better or worse or anything like that, but definitely a different vibe around the team, right?
It's definitely different. Like you said, Mitch was awesome. You know, he drafted me, he gave me a chance, so I swear by Mitch. But you know, it's definitely a different feeling around the organization now.
All right. Well, Larry, thank you so much for your time today. Definitely appreciate it. And of course, best of luck next season. Everybody's going to be rooting for you, and hopefully we will see you out at Summer League cheering on Ivica Zubac and Brandon Ingram and David Nwaba, and as a few new Lakers as well.
Absolutely. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks a lot. We would love to have you on again sometime. This was great.
All right. Sounds good. No problem.
Have a good one.
Hey, take it easy, man.
We're going to pause for one moment to talk about shaving. I know not necessarily the most exciting part of the day, but for me, it's a problem that I always forget to buy new razors. And then I will end up using razors that are way too dull for too long because I forgot to pick up the super expensive ones at the store. Well, I finally found a solution, and that's Harry's Razors. At harrys.com/Lakers, this is a special deal just for my listeners. You can actually get a free trial shave set, and all you have to pay is $3 for shipping, and that's it. Harry's is all about giving you a great shave at a fair price. That's why over 3 million guys have switched over to Harry's. The blade that they give you is absolutely phenomenal. It's just a top quality blade. The closeness of the shave is incredible. It's way better than anything I've ever bought at the store. So claim your free trial offer from Harry's today. It's a $13 value for free. All you got to do is sign up, pay the $3 for shipping. That's it. And your trial set includes a weighted ergonomic razor handle, 5 precision engineered blades with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, a rich lathering shave gel, a travel blade cover as well. Phenomenal set there. Again, to get your free trial, go to harrys.com/Lakers right now. That's harrys.com/Lakers. I've got Yahoo Sports NBA insider Jordan Schultz here today. He was kind enough to make some time for us. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on.
Trevor, my pleasure, man.
Hey, so crazy time right now. All sorts of things happening in the NBA world. And right now, most of the rumors are regarding a guy named Paul George in Indiana. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, Trevor, as we discussed before the segment, it's been a really crazy week, obviously. Draft weeks are always hectic, but this is especially nuts. And Paul George, certainly one of the headliners. I think his value took a significant hit from Indiana's perspective, because when LA traded Mozgov and was able to clear all that cap and shed Russell's contract as well, it really became even more of a threat for other teams, Lakers saying, you know what, we can either get him now or we can go out and get him next summer, where we actually officially do have enough cap, because before they didn't. And by the way, they could technically go out and get LeBron as well. So I still think a Paul George deal gets done. It was essentially, I was told it was very close to being done, and then the Lakers made that deal. So I think that slowed things down. But I still don't really foresee a situation, Trevor, where he's in a Pacer uniform.
So you're saying the Lakers deal for D'Angelo Russell, where they sent Russell to the Brooklyn Nets, actually slowed down a Paul George trade from happening?
Right. So first of all, not with the Lakers per se, but with other teams that were thinking about trying to get him, like Boston, for example. I mean, I was told Cleveland was out of the equation, basically completely. That they had been talks had shut down. Obviously, having David Griffin gone certainly didn't help the Cavs, because their perception of that front office is that it's chaotic and they don't really have anybody in charge. But in terms of the Lakers making the move, I thought it was a really good move for the Lakers to get rid of Russell and Mozgov, acquire an expiring in Brook, and then obviously also get the 27th pick. But I think what it did was it really showed that the Lakers are even more of a threat to get Paul George, whether it's now or in a year.
So because of that threat, now other teams have backed off of Paul George a little bit, because now they know that the Lakers are serious about getting him next summer, and that he'd really just be a one-year rental, correct?
Yeah, and like teams, it's just not. It doesn't make sense for most teams to really rent him and pay, potentially give up an asset or two, and then also a team like Boston, they really don't need to do it. I just think the market for him has shrunk as a result, and that's a great move by LA. I mean, trading Russell is the only real negative there. They drafted him 2 years ago, obviously, second overall, but that wasn't Magic, that wasn't Pelinka, that was a different regime. He was never going to be part of the blueprint in LA, and now they can go ahead and get Lonzo Ball, assuming they keep the second pick, because they know they don't need a wing, they don't need Josh Jackson, because they really believe they're going to get Paul George. So it really worked out well for the Lakers.
Yeah, based on the reaction that I've seen online from Lakers fans, most are not too pleased with the deal, because they're giving up Russell, and they felt like you kind of chopped into Russell's value quite a bit by attaching him to Timofey Mozgov's contract. But I'm getting the sense that the feeling around the league doesn't really match up with that sentiment, that most people see this as a fairly positive move for the Lakers. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. And I think, the reason is because everybody's, like, Laker fans are obviously super passionate. They want to win, and they look at Russell like, how could you give up on him? He's only 21 years old. I understand that. But the thing is that LA is playing the long game here, and I think if you talk to enough people around the league, the sense is that it wasn't a necessary move for them, but it was a good move, mainly because they cleared up so much cap, and they still can get their point guard in Lonzo. And oh, by the way, they don't have to draft a wing; they can get him in free agency.
Right, right. So the Lakers did definitely give themselves a lot of flexibility there. So now that we know they're pursuing Paul George, but what we're hearing as of this moment, and it seems like this is changing, I mean, hour by hour, but what we're hearing right now is that the sticking point is the Pacers are still trying to get the Lakers to throw in like the number 2 pick or Brandon Ingram or something like that.
Or Brandon Ingram, yeah,
right.
exactly
And the
right.
Lakers won't budge from that. Do you see, well, you think the deal will get done. What do you see that deal ending up being?
Magic has been very clear that they don't want to trade Brandon Ingram. He's like the one guy. I think it's the right move. I think trading him would be a terrible mistake. And then obviously the second pick is extremely valuable because they're going to get either Ball or really I think Lonzo Ball at this point because like I said they don't need a wing. So that's a situation for them. And then also the Pacers. Kevin Pritchard, the new GM, inherited a tough situation, Trevor, where now you're hearing, rumors like the 27th pick in Julius Randle. Right. So I just think that he has to pull the trigger on something like that along those lines because otherwise he's not going to get anything back. He might as well get, a pick and a young player like a Julius Randle. Now, when you think about it on paper, you think Paul George, Julius Randle, and a late first-round pick, that's not enough. That's exactly why, Trevor, myself and I think a lot of people thought the good move probably would have been to trade Paul George at the deadline, but obviously they didn't do it, and now they're paying the price.
Right, and perhaps the Lakers could throw in that other pick that they got from Brooklyn. I mean, the 27th as well as their own pick, the 28th. I mean,
right, exactly, both in Randall. Yeah, I mean that in this draft, Trevor, those late firsts have more value than a normal, late first round because it is a very deep draft, but. It's just a terrible situation for Indiana. LA's in the driver's seat. They're in a great spot. They know Paul George wants to be there. He's an LA kid that was not recruited by the local schools, late bloomer. Now he can come home and play for Magic Johnson. I mean, they know that he wants to be there, and they know Indiana's vulnerable. It's a great spot for them.
Well, Jordan, I know you've got a million things going on today, but let's touch really quick on the draft. The last time we had you on, you were fairly convinced that the pick was not going to be Lonzo Ball, and it seems like it's in the last few weeks that's kind of shifted. So what's your take at this point?
Well, a couple things. First of all, his second workout I was told was better. Obviously he wasn't working out. It was a 1-0 situation again where you really can't gauge just how prodigious those passing skills are and how talented he is, in the open floor. But I think obviously his workout was better. That helps. And then you consider that, like we talked about with Paul George, they feel like they can get a wing. They don't need Josh Jackson. There's some duplicity there between him and George. And obviously, they want to be athletic and long, but you can also get that with Lonzo Ball. So I think there's a combination of things. The workout, obviously, but more so the George situation, the fact that they traded D'Angelo Russell, and just the fact that, Magic obviously wants to build this team around running up and down the floor, being, dynamic, being athletic, and I think Ball does give them a lot of that. So I think several things have changed, but we know, and it's been very clear, Trevor, that they haven't loved Lonzo, at least at certain points of this. They've had a lot of question marks, but I do believe he has answered at least enough of them to be the second overall pick and be a Laker.
And certainly the fact that they are zeroing in now on Lonzo Ball, or at least reportedly, that's a factor in the decision to trade D'Angelo Russell, right?
Absolutely. And, one of the issues with D'Angelo was, can we move him over to the 2? I think he could have done it to a degree, but he's a point guard. He's a great passer. And now the question is, for me, what do you do with Jordan Clarkson? I was told that they were actively shopping offers, trying to trade him. I think this was probably a couple of weeks back if I look at my text and timeline. But basically, the bottom line is Lonzo's going to be the one. They have Ingram, who's going to be an absolute stud, maybe not in a year or two, but maybe in 3 or 4 years. Who knows what happens with Randall, but you start to think about the core of this team. Let's just play hypothetically, Trevor. Lonzo, Ingram, Paul George, maybe throw in a LeBron. I mean, these are the types of situations they can get themselves in now because they've been so shrewd with their cap.
Right. I mean, aside from the Mozgov deals and the Dang deal last summer, they have been really careful with their cap space. They paid the price for it with the Russell trade in order to get some of that space back.
Right.
But now they're in good shape again. So let me ask you last thing before you get out of here. This LeBron James stuff. We heard about this about a week and a half ago. This first came out that the Lakers might really be an option, and the general response was just kind of an eye roll, right? Because most people didn't think that's real. Is this real? Are the Lakers a true option for LeBron James next summer?
Yeah, I believe they are. I think, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like a probable thing in terms of happening, but it's definitely real from everything I can gather. I think a couple things to consider, Trevor. LeBron has never played on the West Coast. He's been in Miami and Cleveland, obviously one small market and one, glitzy market, but he wasn't in Miami that long. He's always thought about LA. It just hasn't really presented itself. The opportunity to potentially go there, play for a guy like Magic, who he idolized growing up, and then also somebody, LeBron, who really wants to pursue the entertainment stuff, and it's very hard to do that in Cleveland. And if you put him in LA, he can really play a few years there, and he's only 32 now, but let's say he retires at 38, whatever it is, he could have the opportunity to retire in LA and really build that entertainment brand, build his brand away from the court while he's playing, as opposed to waiting. I mean, he's done it to a degree, but if he's in LA, it's a totally different ballgame. And that, I think, Trevor, is why you're saying Magic feel like we can afford to be arrogant to a degree now. We like I said, they're in the driver's seat. LeBron, to me, is, I wouldn't say 100% going to leave Cleveland, but it does feel like there's more and more of a disconnect between him and Dan Gilbert, and they never had a great relationship to begin with. So Lakers, to me, if he did leave, would be the favorite.
Jordan Schultz, NBA insider for Yahoo Sports, fantastic stuff. So LeBron could be coming to the Lakers. Paul George, things could turn around very, very quickly for Los Angeles.
Let me ask you this, Trevor. I got a question for you.
Yes.
So you're a Laker guy. It doesn't feel like Laker fans really want to keep that second pick and get Ball, or if they could have the opportunity to get George now and not risk anything going wrong, would they want him to be there in exchange for the second pick?
My sense is absolutely not. They would overwhelmingly, what I've seen online is that fans want that pick, and they will absolutely take the risk that George ends up falling in love with another team over the course of the next year. If that's the case, they'd rather just keep it and then try for him next summer if that's the make or break moment for the Lakers.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. I'm just curious because in New York, we have a situation with a team called the New York Knicks that is it's not exactly great. So it's fascinating to hear the different fan bases.
So last thing before you get out of here, give me your prediction. Friday morning, the NBA draft is over. Is Paul George in a Lakers uniform?
That's a great one. This thing is changing, it seems like, every couple hours. Right now, I'd say yes, he is in a Laker uniform by then.
All right, there you have it. Jordan Schultz, Yahoo NBA insider, says Paul George will be a Laker on Friday, but who knows? I mean, the way things are changing, it's a crazy time, fun time for the NBA, great time for basketball. Jordan, thank you so much. I know you have an insanely busy schedule right now with the draft coming up. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you making time to come on here.
Anytime, Trevor. Thanks for having me, buddy.
All right, you have a great one. That's going to do it for today's show. As always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, the CLNS media app, and of course, LakersNation.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another show soon to break down everything that happens during the NBA draft. Till next time, this is Trevor Lane, and this has been the Lakers Nation Podcast.